welcome to today's Jersey Baseball Show. We are crossing state lines once again as we get close to the 2022 high school baseball season. We've got one of the great players in the area, somebody we saw for the first time at the MLK Invitational over at Ascent in January. It's Charlie Evans, outstanding outfielder, Pennsbury High School, which is close enough to New Jersey that we count it anyway. Welcome, Charlie. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you for having me, Mike. I'm excited, ready to rock.
100%. One of the best teams in the area, Pennsbury High School. So again, we take the good teams from PA. We call them our own. We kind of cheat that way. But let's get to your college decision. Charlie is a senior. You notice in the background, Winthrop Eagles. Not a school that a ton of people here are familiar with, which is, their loss, the way I look at it, is a fantastic school, Big South Conference, great academic school, beautiful down in South Carolina. But, the question for you is, how did that happen? How did the kid from, Pennsbury make it down to South Carolina to play D1 ball?
All right. So for me, I was getting recruited at a time where all things were online and virtual for the fact that coronavirus hit. So I was nervous at the start on, if colleges were going to be able to see me, what schools were going to be able to see me. So like my whole thing was I wanted to get recruited to play down south. I'm not a big cold guy. I love the warm weather. I want to play baseball in warm weather. So that was one of my main things, was to be able to play in warm weather. Also, the competition in South Carolina and in North Carolina, Georgia, that area down south is just unmatched. They got the SEC schools down there, big time ACC schools down there. And I think I really wanted to be a part of that. So I was first being looked at by Penn State. This was going into it was cold. So I was a sophomore in high school, and they wanted me to pitch a little bit. I used to pitch back in the day, but they wanted me to pitch, play the outfield a little bit, but they weren't showing enough interest that I wanted. So I was like, okay, see what other schools I'd be able to get seen by. So I was fortunate enough to be selected to the PBR Future Games, and that's run by Prep Baseball Report. And it's they take the best kids out of Pennsylvania, New Jersey, New York, all the states, and you go play each other in this one big tournament. All the best uncommitted guys.
Is this after 10th grade or after 9th grade?
This was after 10th grade. So we're in right after 10th grade, junior year in the summer.
Middle of COVID. Yep.
Right dead smack in the middle. So the team was actually selected a lot earlier before COVID hit. So when it happened, we were like, oh man, are they going to still have it? What's going on? But they did a great job. It's usually at Lake Point in Georgia, but they had it in Dubai, Pennsylvania. And they had it was just all Northeast teams. So I went into that tournament, only had a couple looks, not many, a couple D2 schools, Millersville, New York team, Binghamton interested, and that was pretty much all I had. So I went into that. They had me lead off that game, play center field. I started off the game with a leadoff double off the wall, and ended up going to like 5 for 8, I think, that tournament. I did really well in that tournament. And then right after that, my coaches started getting some calls, and Winthrop was one of the schools. And I started talking to all these schools, and when I talked to Winthrop, they were just different from the rest. They were really interested in me, and my future and my schooling, and they just blew other teams out of the water when I had conversations with them. The coaching staff was phenomenal. Tom Reginas, amazing guy. Robbie Monday was the first guy to recruit me. He's the hitting coach, amazing guy. And so I was like, okay, well, I got to go see this place before I make any decisions. I kind of had an idea of what was going on in my head. So I went down and visited in September, and I wanted to commit before my junior year of school started, because I didn't want to go into school being stressed out about this recruiting process and having to worry about that stuff. I wanted to get on my schoolwork and focus and be ready for the season and not have to worry about this kind of stuff. So I went in September on a visit, visited the campus, and at the time the coaches couldn't take you around, so they had a couple players take me around and tour me. So we walk into the stadium, and I was like, yep, this is the place for me. This, like, the field is just phenomenal. Took me through all the facilities, and I was like, yeah, this is just a different breed than the Northeast. So basically what happened was that was all over. We went to the airport, and ended up we had a delay, and I was sitting in the airport with my family, and I was like, you know what? Let's do this right now. Let's do it. Let's commit to Winthrop University. So called coach up, let him know, and the rest is history.
Yeah, hey, that couldn't have worked out better. I mean, that kind of filled everything you wanted as far as location, as far as type of school, and that's an awesome story. Knowing your dedication to yourself being your best, that moment, obviously a huge part of your dream to play at that level, but was it really just kind of more the start rather than a culmination? Because now you've got at that point 2 years, now it's 3 months, to get ready to play at that level of D1 ball. So what was kind of like the next thing at that point that you knew you had to do?
Yeah, so first, right away, I wanted to kind of just relax and be like, man, I really did this. Like, I went out and reached my goal of playing Division I baseball. But right after that, man, I hit the gym like I've never had before, gained 15 pounds. I was a little guy back in the day. So I was like, to be able to play with these guys, I got to get bigger. That was the main thing. So I would say I got my strength up more than I've ever had before. And it was more of like just a sigh of relief to have the recruiting process over. So it was more of time. I had more time to focus on my craft, and I really got into just being consistent hitting. That was another thing. Like, I was just had that joy to just go hit with my buddies every single day and attack the weight room. And that off season, I took big steps to my junior year for sure.
So it sounds like a lot of things that were process oriented, that at that point, to really perfect that, whether it was your lifting program, whether it was your, eating to get bigger, whether it was working on your speed, your hitting routines. I know you've mentioned, that you are very big into kind of keeping track of these things, journaling your thoughts. When did that start? And what have you learned from it? How has it helped you?
Yeah, so about 2 months ago, I started writing down in a journal every time I would go hit. So I got this off of my buddy Reese Hirsch. He actually used it for catching. So he would write down how the pitchers would throw and how he would catch. And I was like, that's a pretty good idea. Let me try this with hitting. Let's see how it works. So basically what I do is I'll go out and I'll hit. And after I hit, I write down, how did my swing feel? Did it feel good today? What were some things that I need to fix? And just it was just feels. So I would write down what I felt. So, for example, let's just say I was rolling over on ground balls today, right? So I would write that in. I'm like, why am I doing that? What do I need to fix for tomorrow? So then tomorrow, right before I hit, I would go look, check at it, see what I had to do to fix that. And then you kind of turn the page and move on. So it was two things. It was you adjust in the very beginning, and then once that's over, you turn the page and you get to the next day.
Turn the page, right?
Right. So it's kind of a mental thing too. So
yeah,
it just, whenever I feel like I write down stuff, it helps me kind of take in more than kind of just hearing it from others or just trying to remember from the day before.
Yeah, absolutely. So you go through junior year, and last summer you end up with a great opportunity for summer ball to kind of acclimate you to playing down south, I guess, first of all, but certainly the horizons and the experiences kind of open up a little bit. Tell us about your experience last summer, and how it impacted you as a player.
Right. So I played with Foundation Sports this past summer. So basically how I got on this team, a buddy of mine, Ruben Livingston, who's also from Pennsylvania, absolute stud, going to Kent State. He was like, "Hey man, I got this team. My coach is interested in you. We need a center fielder. You wanna hop on? We're playing the best guys in the country." And I was like, "You know what? Let's do it. Let's challenge myself this year." So like before I would go down to Georgia like once a year, twice a year, and like get in WWBA and those type of tournaments. But I was like, you know what? Let's really challenge myself and see what I got compared to these big time guys and go play in invitationals that I have to live in Georgia all summer. So basically got on the phone with my guy Ryan Minjin, great, phenomenal coach. And he was like, "Yeah, stay with us. We got room for you. Just come play baseball, have a good time, and let's ride." So I was like, "All right, cool." So I get there, my first tournament, and every kid on my team is over 6'5", and I'm like, "Wow." I'm like, "Wow, this is crazy." So I'm just like the little guy. And I'm like, "Okay, first off, this is a really good impression." So my mind is like, I don't have my parents, like I'm on my own. I know one kid on this team, so I'm all nervous. Like it's the first game nerves, and I struggled my first tournament, and I think it was a great learning curve for the fact that I had to get over the fear of living on my own, being by myself, being an independent man. And the first 2 weeks was really difficult for me. It was just, I was calling my dad all the time. I'm like, "Man, I miss home. Like, should I really be doing this?" But after I got to know Coach Ryan and Coach Corey and the rest of the team, I was like, "Okay, this is fun." So I settled in more. For my all-field experience, I would say settled in more in that way and got more comfortable. Now on the field, it was awesome. So we were facing the best of the best kids in the country, kids that are getting drafted in the first round, second round, third round out of high school. And it's just like, wow, this is neat. So my mindset was awful in the first like the first couple tournaments, because see, for me, I was like, "Man, I'm facing this Arkansas commit on the mound today. He's pretty good." And I would have a bad at bat, and I'm like, "All right, well, he's good. He's going to Arkansas." Until I had to figure out, you know what? I'm on the same field you're on. We're both in high school, the same age in the same state. We're the same person. So as soon as I got to that mindset where, all right, well, I'm not going to think that you're better than me. I'm as good as you. That's when I started to turn it on in the summer. And it was just an awesome experience on kind of making adjustments mentally more instead of physically. And I think that is going to help me when I get to college, for the fact that when I go on my own, I kind of already had that a little experience before. And I think for sure I'll be ahead of the curve in that aspect off the field for sure.
You won't have those 2 or 3 weeks of having to call home saying, "Can I really do this?" And you've done it already. And on the field, you've kind of gone through that again, that period of self-doubt and not really understanding your place in all of it. And just that had to be obviously the baseball experience is something you'll remember forever. But I got to think ultimately the experience mentally of going through both of those things is probably worth 10 times more.
Right, because you learn from it. And that's exactly what I did this summer. I learned and made an adjustment, and that's honestly, I'll take that over having a good game on the field any day of the week. Just being right mentally.
Yeah, because if you, I think it's why so many freshmen struggle is just so much. Not that they can't physically get it done. I mean, they're good, they're great players. That's why they're there.
Right.
But it's like the burdens of being away and having school and, going to classes and being on your own. And, you're playing with guys 3 years older again. You're the young guy again. And it's like, it just kind of like mentally weighs on you, I think, more than anything.
Right, for sure. And that'll be
Yeah.
something that'll be interesting when I get to college.
Yeah, it'll help to know that you've gone through that and come out on the other side and been successful. I think that's I think, I mean, I don't know how you feel, but at the level that you're at, and you saw at the MLK, that you're seeing the best of the best and you're right up there with anybody there. It's got to be the mental side that's the differentiator.
100%. And I believe in, if you seeing yourself being at the top, being able to hang with guys, mentally saying, all right, well, this kid on the mound, it's whatever. I don't care who I'm facing. It's me versus the ball. I'll go out, ball out. And I think that mindset will get you further than just doubting yourself 100%. And I think that's why the best baseball players are the best baseball players, because you got a guy like Fernando Tatis, where he's not going to get cheated. He's not going to get beat at the plate. Like, he's got the swagger. He's got all that oomph to him. And that's why I think he's so successful.
Has to be, because even 300 hitters are getting out 7 out of 10 times. It's
right.
It's still, above all else, a game of how you handle those 7 out of 10 at bats.
100%.
So you're obviously a big on the mental side of things. Anything special, like routine wise during games or anything like that helps you get locked in or geared up or just ready to go out and dominate?
Yeah. So this is pretty interesting. I'll give you my high school routine last year. So we were virtual last year for school. Yeah. So we would get out at 1:45, I think 1:30, 1:45. And we would have to be at the field by 2:30. So I live 5 minutes away from the field. So I'll get off my Zoom meeting and immediately I'll go down, eat a sandwich. And then after the sandwich, get right in the shower, take like a 10-minute shower. And then after that, I would immediately put my uniform on, and I would listen to, it's called binaural beats. It's on YouTube. It's a meditation thing. So I would literally sit on this chair right here with my full uniform on, my headphones in, and I would listen to this for 20 minutes, just sitting like this. And it for some reason, it just got me locked in, and I was ready to rock. It just had me loose. I don't know why. Don't ask me why, but whatever, it was working. It worked.
It doesn't matter why, it works.
So then after that, grabbed my stuff, got in the car, and I would play the same 3 songs to get to the field, and it would finish exactly when I got to the field. So get out of my car, and then I would eat an orange literally before the game would start, and then I'd be ready to rock. And it was a strange, definitely different thing, but I believe in routine. So if you're succeeding with routine, my belief is you stick with it. And that was one thing too that I stuck with for the whole season, and it was pretty cool.
Yeah. Give us the short hype version. I'm on record saying Pennsbury is going to be one of the best teams, again, in the expanded New Jersey. But certainly, Southeastern PA, certainly a state champion contender in PA. Give us the kind of quick get hype for Falcons 2022 look with some of the absolute beasts you guys have this year.
Yeah, so we got a really loaded senior class this year, and I'm really excited. We got Justin Mitrovich, who 93, Elon commit on the mound. He's our ace. We have Callan Fang, who's a 2-way, mostly on the mound. Harvard commit up to 90. We have another pitcher, Caden Falcon, who's a junior. He's up to 89, 90, who I think he's going to dominate this year. And then we got some key role players in the field. We got James Schaefer, who's a young guy. He's a sophomore. Ryan Zuckerman, pick commit. I think he'll have a really good season this year. He's really taken a step in his game on the mental side, hitting approach wise. I think he'll ball out this year. Reese Hirsch, again, another guy that's really into it, ready to rock behind the dish. Another great guy that will just nonstop consistently get base hits. And then we got some other guys that are sophomores and juniors who I think are going to take a big step and really contribute to the team. But what I'm most excited about this year is finally a normal season for us, so we can we can get the chemistry going. I'm excited for the bowling parties, the team meetings, the team dinners. But I think Pennsbury is definitely a team to watch out for. I think we could take on anyone in the state, and I fully believe that.
Agreed. Always tough locally, though. You got all your rivals coming at you every week. It seems like.
Oh yeah,
a lot of excitement. But some of those names look or sound familiar to me because saw them all at a little bat demonstration you were putting on the other day. Let's talk a little bit about your guys over at Birdman Bats and what was that I was watching. We'll talk about it. We'll show some highlights. I know some of your boys who were some of the absolute monsters in the area were there swinging and kind of showing the bats off.
Oh yeah. So about a week ago. So first off, we'll restart to my guy Rob Crozier, who's one of the big guys at Birdman Bats. He's the man. He's been a good friend of the family for a long time now, and it's really great to see him succeed with Birdman and how much since he's been there, the company has really grown from all the way to Major League Baseball to Little League Baseball. I see Little League kids now with instead of swinging those bats that aren't as good as the ones that used to be amazing, they're swinging the Birdman bat. So it's pretty neat to see that going on for him. But so we'll get to that video. So Rob sent me a bunch of bats. He's like, you know what? I want you to take the best guys in the area. I got you for this facility. Go hit there and just let it loose and take some video. So I had Jake Books there, who's absolute stud, lefty, Coastal Carolina commit. Gilbert Saunders, he's about 6'6", 270 pounds, committed to Minnesota. Beast. We had Reese Hirsch, Ryan Zuckerman, Callan Fang, who's all in Pennsbury, Austin Stalker.
Yeah.
He's from Council Rock North, committed to Radford, same conference as Winthrop, which is pretty neat. Aiden Quinn, probably one of the best left-handed swings I've ever seen. Been playing with him since I was a little kid. Committed to Coastal Carolina, and
even Jake. That doesn't seem fair. They're both going to Coastal, right?
Yeah, they're going to be something. They're going to be real good. But no, it was a really cool experience. Just
we can't forget
Jackson Kramer.
I don't want to hear about Jackson.
Jackson Kramer, big dog. Been playing with him for a while too. He's committed to Wake Forest. Definitely will have a good college career. But yeah, it was really neat to just and everybody was so interested to swing the bat. So I was like, I got 10 bats for you guys. Come on, that's all you need is just come here and start swinging them. We'll get it on video. So we had guys driving an hour and a half away, and everybody got there. Everybody was cool, met each other. Some didn't know each other. So it was nice to have everyone talk to each other. And again, everybody was just swinging away with those bats, man. It was a laser show for sure. I wish it was outside, but it was definitely cool.
Way too many baseballs if it was outside, I think.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. But no, it was really cool.
Yeah. Charlie Evans here with us today, Pennsbury High School senior, headed off to Winthrop after the season, have some unfinished business before then. Couple quick random questions for you. Favorite sports team?
Philadelphia Phillies, 100%. Love the Philadelphia Phillies. Sixers, I'll add the Sixers in there too.
We'll see. Well, they got a big experiment now with Harden.
James Harden.
Either going to succeed spectacularly or fail spectacularly, I think. But I will say this: it's going to be a lot more fun watching them the rest of the season than it was before.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And college-wise, just off camera, I think we've got the answer to your favorite college football team, right?
Yep, gotta be Notre Dame. I've been a Notre Dame fan since I was a little kid. Interesting to see what they do this year with their new head coach. Brian Kelly's gone, and I think they'll be good. He's a guy he's for the people, for the team. So I think it will be interesting to see how they do.
Favorite athlete growing up?
Gotta be Mike Trout. Guy from New Jersey, close to Pennsylvania. Local kid, never was super cocky. Put his head down and worked, and then best player in baseball.
Absolutely. One piece of advice or quote that kind of sticks in your head and you try to pattern your game after.
Don't be last. Don't be last. A friend, or not a friend, my coach, Greg Young, who's been my childhood coach, always used to say that. Don't be last running on the field. Don't be last running off the field. Don't ever walk. Don't be the last guy. Just be ahead of everyone. That's what stuck with me.
Greg, whose son Tyler is at Lehigh right now, right? Shortstop on a really good Lehigh team.
Correct. Yeah.
Pretty smooth in the field, huh?
Oh yeah, and he's got a hose too.
Yes. I guess you already mentioned you're a music fan. On the way to games, you get control of the playlist for BP or whatever. What type of music are we listening to?
So in season, I'm big on country in the when it gets warm out. So I would have to say a little Luke Bryant going, a little Morgan Wallen going. Always sets the vibe for some BP when it gets close to the springtime.
Favorite place you've played?
This is a good question. I got two in mind. So this summer we were, I'm gonna say Jupiter in Florida. Was there this fall with GBG, Garcia Baseball Group, team from California. But it wasn't the fields that did it for me. It was just the atmosphere and all the pro scouts there. It was phenomenal. And you can't beat the weather in the fall being 85 degrees, 90 degrees when it's
something about the palm trees and October, right?
Oh yeah, can't beat it.
One thing we don't know about Charlie Evans.
I used to be a primary pitcher when I was younger.
You mentioned that.
My freshman year on JV, I was the ace of the team. So I would pitch more than I would play the field. Pretty interesting.
What happened? The PO, I don't see the PO life really like jiving with you at all. I see you not, I know how much you like to hit and all that stuff. So I don't know.
Little arm issues, but we're good now with the fact that I wanted to hit. I didn't want to just pitch. Yeah. I wanted to run around a little bit. I'm a quick guy, so I'd rather run around in the outfield, catching balls and hit baseballs than pitch.
You can't waste those that 6.7 speed and the 100 exit velos and only use it in batting practice. That's PO hitting days that doesn't count.
Right.
If you could be D1 in any sport other than baseball, what would you pick?
Football, 100%. The atmosphere in the SEC and college football playoffs, something different. Even at Penn State, I used to play football too, so that would definitely be the sport I would pick.
I take it you've been to Notre Dame for a game then.
Believe it or not, I have this fall. They played Toledo, and it was so my dad brought me and my cousin Brandon Garrett, and it was definitely our bucket list. So we got to see the Dome, touchdown Jesus, Notre Dame get a victory. It was awesome. It was a dream come true.
Well, since you got that, what's one more thing on your bucket list?
Ooh. I always wanted to travel outside of the United States. Never have. Somewhere on an island that has palm trees and beautiful water.
Yeah. All right. So we got it like in the Caribbean somewhere, maybe Puerto Rico, which is kind of the U.S. that doesn't really care. But we'll count it anyway. Awesome. We appreciate it, Charlie. I thank you for taking the time. Pennsbury will be in New Jersey at least once this year, April 24th, which is also Senior Recognition Day, I believe. It's a Sunday night, 7 o'clock against Hopewell Valley over at Arm & Hammer Stadium. That's one great chance to catch these guys in action. But again, they're a nice, probably a double cut away from New Jersey. So get over and see the Falcons this year as they go after a PA state title. We appreciate the time, Charlie, and look forward to catching you at the field.
Thank you, Mike. Appreciate you having me.
Absolutely.
Been a blast.
Yes, sir. Charlie Evans, our guest today on JBS. We will catch you guys next time.